3 days. That's how long a person survives without water. Not a week, not a month. 3 days. Your water bill arrived this month. You paid it. The faucet works. Everything is fine. Now consider this. The average American home sits underneath roughly 30 to 50 inches of rainfall every year. That rain lands on your roof, runs into your gutters, flows into the storm drain, and you pay someone else for water. Before municipal water systems existed, which in most of the United States means before 1900, every household collected, stored, and filtered its own water. The systems they used cost nothing to run. Most of them required no electricity, and several of them are still perfectly legal, completely functional, and buildable this weekend.
Here is what happened, and it happened within living memory. Rainwater harvesting dates back over 5,000 years, with archaeological evidence of cisterns in the Middle East around 3000 BC. Dating back to 2000 BC, people in the Negev desert survived by capturing water from hillsides and storing it in cisterns, some holding up to 1 million gallons. The ancient Romans made rainwater harvesting an advanced science. The roofs of houses collected rainwater that flowed through terracotta pipes down to cisterns where water was stored for domestic use. Native American communities across the continent used gravity-fed spring systems and rock catchments for centuries before European contact. Early American settlers, the people who built this country, collected rainwater as standard household practice. Every farmhouse had a cistern. Every homestead had a rain barrel. Then, between 1890 and 1950, municipal water systems expanded across the United States. With increasing pressure on municipal water supplies, modern homes now use gutters and downspouts primarily for drainage rather than water collection. The infrastructure that replaced individual water collection was a genuine improvement. It brought clean water to cities. It eliminated waterborne disease on a massive scale. But it also created something that did not exist before: total dependence. When the pipe breaks, you have no water. When the pumping station loses power, you have no water. When the treatment plant fails, as it does repeatedly in communities across America every year, you have no water. The systems your great-grandparents used required none of those things. And they're not gone.
You already know this works. You've seen it. The rain barrel in someone's backyard that fills up during a storm and waters the garden all week without the hose ever turning on. The old farmhouse with the concrete cistern in the basement. Still there, still functional, even though nobody has used it in 40 years. The spring-fed property where water flows from a hillside pipe, cold and clear, with no pump, no electricity, no bill. Ancient civilizations employed gravity-fed channels that minimized water loss and maximized flow control. That same principle, gravity moves water downhill, no power required, is still the most reliable water delivery mechanism that exists. It powered civilization for 5,000 years. It works in your yard.
Here is the number that reframes this entirely. The average American pays between $400 and $1,000 per year for water service. Over 20 years, up to $20,000 for water. Now, consider this. A standard 1,500 square foot roof collects roughly 900 gallons of water for every inch of rain that falls on it. In most of the continental United States, annual rainfall averages between 20 and 50 inches per year. That means the roof of an average American home passes between 18,000 and 45,000 gallons of collectible water every single year. Down the gutter, into the drain, gone. The infrastructure to capture and store even a fraction of that water costs between $100 and $500 to build, one time.
Method number 1, rainwater harvesting. This is the simplest entry point and the one most people can implement this weekend. The basic system: a clean food-grade barrel or tank positioned under a downspout from your roof gutter. A diverter, a $20 fitting available at any hardware store, redirects water from the downspout into the barrel when it rains and routes overflow away from your foundation when the barrel is full. A standard 55-gallon barrel runs $20 to $60. A 250-gallon tank runs $100 to $200. What you can do with collected rainwater without any treatment: water a garden, wash a car, flush a toilet, water livestock, supply a greenhouse. What you can do with collected rainwater after basic filtration and purification: everything. Filtering systems that include gravel, sand, or specialized filters ensure that water entering the cistern is free from debris and contaminants. A simple 3-stage filter. First, a mesh screen for debris, then a sand and gravel layer for sediment, then a carbon filter for taste and odor, removes the vast majority of contaminants from collected rainwater. Add a UV treatment step or a few drops of unscented household bleach per gallon, and you have water that meets drinking standards. The entire filtration setup can be built from materials at a hardware store for under $50. Here is the one thing people get wrong. They collect water in open containers. Covered storage is non-negotiable. Open water breeds mosquitoes, collects debris, and allows algae growth. Every barrel needs a tight-fitting lid. Every connection needs a mesh screen. Covered, filtered, treated. This system produces usable water from rainfall at zero ongoing cost. Your roof is already catching it. You're just choosing what to do with it next.
Method number 2, a gravity-fed spring system. If your property has a natural spring, water emerging from the ground uphill from where you want it delivered, you have access to one of the most reliable water systems in human history. Ancient gravity-fed systems used channels that minimized water loss and maximized flow control, requiring no pumps and no power. The setup is straightforward. A spring box, a small concrete or stone enclosure built over the spring outlet, collects the water as it emerges. A pipe runs from the spring box downhill to a storage tank near the house. Gravity does the rest. A well-constructed spring box protects the water source from surface contamination. A first flush diverter on the line discards the first few gallons after a rain event, the ones most likely to carry surface debris, before allowing water into storage. The result is a continuous gravity-fed water supply that requires no electricity, no pump, no pressure tank, and no utility bill. Farms across Appalachia, the Ozarks, and the Pacific Northwest ran on these systems for generations. Many still do. What you need? A spring on your property or uphill from your property, pipe, a storage tank, and about 1 weekend of work. Total cost? $200 to $500 depending on distance and tank size. Ongoing cost? $0.
2 more. Directly. Hand-dug or drilled well with a manual pump. A drilled well with an electric submersible pump is the standard rural water solution in the United States. It works well until the power goes out. The modification that changes everything costs under $200. A manual hand pump, specifically one rated for deep wells, installed alongside or in place of the electric pump, gives you full water access during any power outage for any duration. The most durable models are built from cast iron and have a documented lifespan of 25 years with minimal maintenance. Some families have run them for 50 years. In any grid-down scenario lasting more than 72 hours, the household with a manual well pump has water independence that no power disruption can touch. If you're on municipal water and interested in well independence, a shallow well can be hand-dug on most rural properties for under $1,000 with the right equipment and soil conditions. Deeper wells require professional drilling, $5,000 to $15,000, but produce water for decades. The one-time cost, spread over 20 years, is less than what most households pay in water bills. Cistern storage. In the Middle East, cisterns ranged from 10,000 to 50,000 gallons and were often stored underground. Community cisterns were also common. The principle applies at any scale. An underground cistern, poured concrete, fiberglass, or polyethylene, stores large volumes of water collected from rain, spring, or well. Underground storage maintains consistent cool temperatures, which slows algae growth and bacterial development. Properly sealed and maintained, a cistern stores water for months. A 1,500-gallon residential cistern installed by a contractor runs $2,000 to $5,000. A DIY above-ground version using food-grade polyethylene tanks costs $300 to $800. Either gives you a water reserve that functions completely independently of the municipal system.
Here is how to start this weekend with whatever property you have. If you have a gutter and a downspout, you can have a functional rainwater collection system by Sunday afternoon. 1 barrel, 1 diverter fitting, 2 hours of work, under $80. That barrel will water your garden all summer without the hose turning on once. If you have a rural property with high ground, walk it. Look for wet spots, areas where water pools after rain, places where the ground stays damp. These are your spring candidates. Have a well driller or spring specialist assess what you have.
If you are on a well already, price a manual backup pump. A quality cast iron hand pump runs $200 to $400. Installation is straightforward on most well casings. This single addition gives you water independence from the power grid permanently. If you want maximum water independence, combine all three: rain collection for garden and non-potable use, a spring or well for drinking water, a cistern for storage reserve. The full system costs less than 2 years of water bills, and it never sends you another one. 2 questions I know you're holding. First, is rainwater collection legal? In most states, yes, and increasingly so. As of 2024, the majority of U.S. states either explicitly permit residential rainwater harvesting or have no restriction on it. A small number of states have specific regulations on collection volume or intended use. Colorado, historically the most restrictive state, now permits up to 110 gallons of residential collection per household. Check your state's specific rules before building a large system. For a basic rain barrel used for garden irrigation, you are almost certainly fine everywhere. Second, is collected rainwater actually safe to drink? Treated correctly, basic filtration plus a purification step, yes. The EPA has published guidance on residential rainwater use. The Centers for Disease Control recognize it as a viable supplemental water source when properly treated. Your ancestors drank it for thousands of years. The treatment options that now exist are better than anything they had.
The thing about these water systems that stays with me is the engineering behind them. The use of cisterns to store rainwater can be traced back to the Neolithic age. By late 4000 BC, emerging water management techniques used in farming yielded waterproof lime plaster cisterns built in the floors of houses. The Romans built sophisticated aqueducts, while early Indian and Chinese societies dug underground cisterns. These early rainwater harvesting systems weren't just clutter, they were crucial to survival. Istanbul's Basilica cistern, built in the 6th century, held 80,000 cubic meters of water. It is still structurally sound today. It required no electric pump. It ran on gravity, engineering, and the understanding that water security is not optional. The Negev desert communities of ancient Israel built catchment systems capable of storing millions of gallons in one of the driest regions on Earth. They survived there for centuries. These were not primitive people making do with what they had. They were engineers solving the same problem you have: reliable, independent access to clean water with fewer resources and better results than most modern households have prepared for. The municipal water system is a remarkable achievement. Nobody is disputing that. But it is a single point of failure. One pipe, one treatment plant, one pumping station. Your great-grandparents didn't build their water security around a single point of failure. A barrel under a downspout is not a statement. It's not a political position. It's not paranoia. It is the oldest and most practical engineering solution to a problem that has not changed in 6,000 years. The rain is still falling. It's still landing on your roof. What you do with it next is up to you. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.